Hey there, folks. Ben Farrell for Benn Farrell Freelance. This week we're talking to an erotica writer, and we're going to hear her story. Hey there, Ben Farrell for Benn Farrell Freelance. This week is going to be one of the episodes where we talk to another writer and hear their story. And this week we're going to be talking to Alexia Knight, who has written a series of books based on her own life, and her story is quite interesting. Now, Alexia has written a series of 3 books called the Cinderella Diaries, and she has some great things to say about how she came about to start writing it and her advice for new writers as well. So for this interview, we were not able to show Alexia's face, and after you hear her story, you will understand why. However, her story very much fits into next week's episode of this vlog, which talks about taking your own life and using it as inspiration for what you're writing. So let's dive right in. We have Alexia online right now. Alexia, thanks for joining us. Tell us about the books that you've written.
Well, I wrote a book called Cinderella Diary. The book is an erotic memoir, which is based on actual events that happened as they were recorded in my diary, as well as chatting conversations with certain people. It's a true story based on things that were going on with me at the time. And after I wrote the first book, that was this lovely awakening journey, I decided this needs to continue. So what started out as an idea for one book became a trilogy.
Based on your feedback so far, why are people enjoying the books?
Generally, people enjoy the books because they are honest and raw. It's just, they aren't fantasy stories. It's just one woman's discussion of how she replays these sexual events in her head. So it's real, it's raw, it's funny at times. You know, sometimes you root for the main character, sometimes you shake your head at the main character, but it comes off as very authentic. And I think that's what gets people to want to read the story and continue reading the story and following along with the story, is the idea that this is somebody's real experience. There's nothing here that's made up or fabricated. That's part of the enjoyment of it. It's almost like voyeuristically watching this woman make these choices and do the things that she does.
So what actually got you started as a writer? What drove you to start writing?
Well, I always wanted to be a writer, and I had an affinity for it. And through the years, I had many ideas for books that I wanted to write, or ideas that I had. I really like the YA genre, and I always thought that I would be a YA writer. And then I thought that when I was younger and I used to read these YA books, I would go right to the sex scenes. And then I thought, well, how interesting if I just wrote a book with all sex scenes. And that's pretty much where Cinderella Diary began. So my inspiration drew from real life, and I just wrote what was happening to me. And once I started writing, it was easy, the writing to come out the way it did, but it was just easy to write, and the story came together, and then it kept going, and then a trilogy came together, and it was very fulfilling to be able to finish that.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Your works are not a collection of short stories. It's actually a linear story over 3 books so far.
It's not a collection of short stories, but it's very episodic. So the first book has 104 chapters. Most of my chapters are short. Some are about a page, some are less than a page, some are a couple pages, but it's very, very quick reading. She meets this guy and does this. She meets this other guy and she does that. And then she meets this guy again and does this. So there are a lot of, it's an adventure. She's collecting sexual partners in a way, and she just describes her experience with each one.
So let me ask you, why erotica? What satisfies you as a writer to create in that space? And do you have any plans of venturing outside of that genre?
I'm pretty sure that no matter what happens, I'm going to keep writing, and I'm going to keep writing about sex. That's a subject that I'm fascinated with. So I was thinking of writing more legit nonfiction about sex, sexual relationships, kinks and propensities, and different dating tropes.
Who are you talking to?
Shh, quiet. Go run with scissors or something.
Awesome!
Keep going.
Things along those lines, people's sexual habits and inclinations and where they come from, sort of the sociology and anthropology behind sex. I've just talked to so many people, and I find a lot of that stuff very fascinating. So I think erotica or erotic nonfiction or, legit informational nonfiction, it's definitely something that I want to continue exploring.
Great. What advice would you have for others who are looking to develop as an author and get started?
I'm thinking about the advice I received is just write. It doesn't have to be pretty in the beginning. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get your ideas out on paper and you can fix it later. I also would advise people to join writing groups on Facebook or Reddit or whatever platform they find comfortable. Talk to people that are in the same boat and going the same direction. And I didn't really do that until later. Like once I had started publishing, I joined some writers groups and I feel a lot of camaraderie there with the writers. And some erotica writers group and some mainstream writers groups. And it just gives me a lot of ideas and support, read each other's books and review each other's books and give each other advice. So it's a lovely community to be part of.
So with your books being based on real life and actual characters that have come in and out of your life, have any of those people that have inspired those characters come back and create drama once they realize they're part of your books?
No, they haven't. For the most part, I live this life in secret. I'm just I think this is part of the appeal of the book too. I'm a married woman. I'm a mother. I'm an educator. I've lived in my community all of my life. So a lot of these things happen in secret. So 99% of the characters in my books do not know that there are these books and that there are a character in them. There are one or two that know and they joke around about who's going to play me in the movie, but most of them do not know, and I do not want them to know.
So I noticed in your marketing you never show your face, and I can understand that for your privacy and your security of your family, but I was wondering, how does that help the branding of these books?
I don't show pictures of my face on social media. I feel like I'm living kind of a triple life. So there's the me, that's the wife and the mother and the worker. And then there's this naughty sex lady who runs around doing all these naughty things with all kinds of people. And then there's the writer. And there are very few humans on this earth who actually know all three versions of me.
So if people are interested in reading what you've written and want to stay up to date on what you're doing next, how do they find you?
My books can be found pretty much anywhere books are sold. Amazon is the most popular outlet, but also Barnes & Noble, BookBaby, Scribed, etc. Best way to keep in touch with me is to find me on Facebook. My name, Alexia Knight. There are a few Alexia Knights, but I'm not the porn star, I'm the writer. Instagram at Cinderella Diary. On Twitter at Cinderella with 5_ after the word Cinderella.
All right, well, that's pretty much all the time we have to talk to you. Is there anything else that you would like to let people know before we let you go?
I just want to let you know and your fans know that I like interacting with people, talking to people, asking questions. So I don't want anybody to hesitate to contact me if they're interested in the book. But I love talking to fans and readers and discussing the stories, and even people who are writing or erotica writers or people who are just interested in the topic in general. I love having conversations with people, so I encourage that.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you down the road. So, there you have it. She takes her real life and she uses it as inspiration for what she's writing. Come back to my channel next week because I have an entire episode devoted to using your own life as inspiration for what you're writing. In the meantime, keep writing, keep up the work. The world needs it. This is Ben Farrell for Benn Farrell Freelance. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hey there, folks. As promised, we have a new contest period for the next 2 months. For this contest, what I'd like you to do is write a 3-sentence story to go along with the photo that I'm about to show you.
And this photo is really weird.
Okay, so send in your 3-sentence story to go along with that picture, and all the entries will be put into a raffle, and if your name is drawn in that raffle, you'll get a free copy of one of my stage plays. Which stage play are we going to offer this time?
Deadly Intentions.
Deadly Intentions. It's the only musical I've ever written. It's actually very funny, and if you want to learn a little bit more about it, where can they go?
BennFarrellWriter.com.
BennFarrellWriter.com. So that's it. Go ahead and get those entries in. I appreciate you hanging out with us. This is Ben Farrell for Benn Farrell Freelance.
And stay safe and keep watching our videos.
Keep watching those videos.
Bye.